I'm gonna try things a little bit differently. This has normally been an evening show, but I've been extremely inconsistent. So I thought I'd flip it around to when baby girls sleep in the mornings. Thought it'd be a little bit easier to do. So, hi Esther, hi everybody, hi Looking. This is a show where we talk about the events of the day. I'm Sophie of StanWithSophie.com, where I provide survival guides, live trainings, secure comms, and so much more. Because I was fortunate enough to escape the United States. Since I live in the UK now, I am 5 hours into your future if you happen to still be stuck in America. This means that I can most accurately share the news that you can expect to matter today, and I can't be disappeared for doing it. So today in the Fourth Reich marks day 90 that a Black woman, Adriana Smith, who was declared brain dead in February, is still being kept on life support against her family's wishes, all because of the state's forced birth laws. Doctors have confirmed that the now 21-week-old fetus has brain abnormalities. Her mother, April Newkirk, has expressed profound distress over the situation, describing it as torture. Not only do they want to keep her in the hospital and intensive care and on all these life support systems, from a tracheotomy to having ventilation and food and all the things that they have to do to keep her body alive, but the family is being forced to foot the bill when they don't want this. It's also the government can experiment on Black bodies, a la Henrietta Lacks, and the mothers of gynecology, Anarcha Westcott, Betsy, and Lucy. Also, this morning in Palm Springs, California, American Reproductive Center, which is a fertility clinic, was bombed. I don't know if I can say these words, sorry, was exploded over the weekend in an act of domestic terrorism. The suspect, a 25-year-old man from 29 Palms, reportedly believed that no child should be born without consent. So he was fucking crazy, basically. He actually died in the explosion. And I'm not laughing because that's funny. I mean, it's kind of funny. But the only reason I can find it funny is because this motherfucker blew up the office. He blew up the office. The embryos are fine. Everyone's okay. No one was hurt. Well, he was hurt. Pretty much. Yeah, that's karma, like immediate instant karma. Now, and even though it's kind of comical that this clear lunatic, lost his life in the most ironic kind of a way, it does hold a bit of a portent for what we can expect to see moving forward with this sort of domestic violence, domestic terrorism, given just how gung-ho the forced birth movement is, even considering the story we just talked about with Adriana Smith and how they're forcing her to stay alive to be an incubator for her unborn baby. And just to kind of segue onto that really quickly before we move on to some more headlines, that is so scary to me because that baby is 21 weeks now, and it's getting close to a point where it could be viably born, essentially. My daughter, this little girl right here, was born at 23 weeks. So, I know exactly how much it takes to keep a fetus essentially alive outside of the womb at 23 weeks. So to know that not only is this poor baby being forced to be growing inside of its dead mother, with all these chemicals and medicines and hormones being pumped into that poor mom's body. They also have fluid on their brains that they've detected. I mean, it's just, so then to know that not only are they going to have to face these complications of who knows what's going to happen with this child, but then to battle being born early, because there's no way they're going to be able to have that baby go to like term. So if at 23 weeks, when babies are able to be born successfully, like my daughter, in a couple weeks, you're going to see them C-section out this kid. And just who knows, like what's gonna, I can't imagine they're gonna survive. I just think it's the worst form of torture and abuse that they could do to a poor innocent little life who didn't have to feel any of this, who could have just been let go. So it's one of the biggest things that I really hate about the forced birth movement as a whole and all these anti-abortion laws and things, because that's what you're forcing women to do, is to carry these babies to a point where they reach sentience and can then feel that pain that will happen when they, are born before they were viable, or born in a state where they can't survive. So it's just nuts. And I'm missing some comments. What are you talking about? Not Oh man, that's a lot. What are you talking about? Not that I believe you not. I just hear not of it. Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about just the headlines of the day. So there's a woman in Georgia who was back in February had a blood clot due to her pregnancy that was undetected, and she is now brain dead. So in February she was killed. She's dead. She's not here anymore. Brain dead is not a vegetative state. Brain dead is not a coma. She is dead. And they are pumping her body full of chemicals and medicines and oxygen to keep her body alive, because the anti-abortion laws in Georgia are preventing the hospital from killing the baby by killing the mom, essentially, or letting the mom go. Why is that allowed? It's allowed because of Donald Trump, because of him putting justices in the court who overturned Roe versus Wade, where they now put it back to the states. And Georgia is now a state that doesn't let you seek reproductive care or abortion care after, I think it's 6 weeks. And so, yeah, so now the hospital can't, their hands are tied. And so it's absolutely insane. Well, how far along is the baby? The baby was 9 weeks. So just a clump of cells. You can literally look it up. They have pictures of what a 9-week old pregnancy material looks like. And it's literally just a bundle of cells. It went from 9 weeks, where that baby could have been let go, to now it's 21 weeks. Again, we're on day 90 of Adriana Smith being forced to be an incubator. So it's pretty gross. Most that hate Trump have no idea how to create generational wealth for their families and blame him. Okay, I think you're just hawking your shit because your username speaks to that. In 3 months, the economy is going to. Okay, yeah, you're just a grifter like your boy, your orange Cheeto here. Let's see. All right, I think I've caught up with some comments. What about human rights? I agree, Jabber. You guys keep tapping. Thanks so much for the taps so far, and the likes and the shares, just the free things that you can do. I appreciate that. Just to, again, let everybody know that I'm in the UK, so I'm 5 hours into the future from those of you who are still in America. And so I'm able to kind of share what headlines are going to be important today. So we already talked about Adriana Smith, that poor lady who's on life support for her fetus, essentially. We talked about the 25-year-old who blew up a reproductive center like an idiot, killed himself in the process, and it's hilarious. So the reason I think it's funny too is because it's an IVF center. I don't know if like they said that his manifesto essentially was that he didn't think any child should be born without consent, like whatever the hell that means. So it's just kind of interesting how, you would expect him to maybe try to target like an abortion clinic or something like that, because that seems to be where they're trying to point the arsenal, the paramilitary groups that they're forming with the J6ers and all the MAGA folks and all that. They're trying to aim them at, abortion clinics and stuff like that. But this guy blew up an IVF clinic. So it's just absolutely nuts to me. That's also kind of pertinent to me because she was born via IVF. And so it's very close to my heart. When I heard what happened, I was like, oh my God, I was really, really devastated. But then I learned he just blew up their offices. So the embryos are fine. Nobody else was hurt. Well, of course he was hurt. Moron. But anyway, so let's keep going with some of the headlines of the day. Um, but yeah, they never stay. And yeah, keep tapping, keep sharing this out if you don't mind. Thank you guys. All the free stuff. I do have gifts available if you want to join my team, but for free. Do what you can. Some other headlines to expect to be pertinent today are that President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive metastatic prostate cancer. He's undergoing treatment now. I, for one, wish him the absolute best. He's under fire a lot. There's a book coming out by, I want to say, Jake Tapper, about just how much his mental decline was actually happening. People are trying to say, oh, it was being covered up. I don't know. I feel like he's old, and he's always been old, and we all saw he was old. Nobody didn't know he was old, but I don't think that he's ever exhibited like full blown like dementia, unlike Donald Trump. Like, have you heard Donald? Did you hear this last speech that this man made where he was just rambling about uh like lumberjacks and shit? Like, this man is insane. Um, let's see. They're so angry that they have to blame everything on the Trump, even when it's their own. So Salazar, I'm just going to assume you're a bot because you're not making any sense. Another headline today is that Moody's has downgraded the U.S. credit rating. This is causing markets to slip, and it's adding pressure to an economy that's already been pushed to the brink by inflation, tariffs, and corporate deregulation. So that kind of sucks. Yet another thing to look out for when you're like getting ready. One of the things I do at standwithsophie.com is we have live trainings, and we go through, specific to you, your contingency plans. So I call it set it and forget it survival. So if you take a couple hours to get your go bag ready, get your plan in place, and then everything's good to go. Everything's good to go. If things go down, awesome. If nothing happens, great. Great, great, great. But one of the things we try to address is the fact that a recession is coming. And this Moody's downgrade of our U.S. credit rating is yet another step in that direction. And so, we're going to experience stagflation. We're going to have lower jobs, higher inflation. It's getting scary out here, okay? And so, what I try to do is say, pull out some cash money, just have some bills on hand, just keep that in your go bag. Start getting some stockpiles of your medications if you're able to. Um, just some things that we can recommend with your phone to put some phone shortcuts on if you get detained or if things happen. I have a whole gear list that you can purchase in case the power goes out, in case your internet goes out, in case, so there's all kind of things we can do today to just be ready in case things happen. The biggest thing about it, though, is building community and making sure that you know who your neighbors are, that you have an emergency contact list, a phone tree that can call out to each other if something happens. You can reach out to if you need to. Again, if you don't need to, perfect. It's wonderful. And it wouldn't be great if we never have to use these things, but if we can just make sure we're prepared and in the event that we do need to, get ready. Go to standwithsophie.com if you want some of those tools and resources. So yeah, another headline to look out for today. I'll keep going with that. I'm not really seeing any like comments that are worth saying. But speaking of deregulation, Trump's one big beautiful bill is advancing in Congress. It includes sweeping tax cuts for the rich and a tax on remittances sent outside the US. This disproportionately targets immigrant communities, which is absolutely horrible. One of the things that you see a lot, because living in the UK, is there's all these ads for like apps and companies that send money to India, send money back to Africa. and things like that. And that's really common in America too. A lot of people who come in from South America come in to work and send money back. Who come in from Asia, come in from India and stuff. They go to America to send money back, and so now they're going to be taxing a lot of that, which is really quite sad. Um, so yeah, so I hate to hear that the one big beautiful bill, it's like a fourth grader named it. I mean, that's his reading level, so it makes sense. He that's being advanced in Congress. And what's funny is I feel that not only are we in a constitutional crisis, but we've been in a constitutional crisis. People try to say, oh, it's ever since uh, Trump balked the judiciary and he said he wasn't going to bring back Kilmar Obrega Garcia despite the Supreme Court telling him to facilitate his return. That's when no. It was way before that. Sunshine says, I'm so brainwashed. Okay. If I'm brainwashed, then again, I don't see any problem with getting ready for what's going on, understanding the news of the day. I'm literally just telling you the headlines of things that are actually happening. Timmy, you've been sticking around for a while. Thanks for the engagement, friend. Appreciate all the comments. Make sure you're tapping, sharing, liking, all that jazz. Make sure you follow if you want to keep seeing this program. I plan to come on every morning just to, again, make you aware of the headlines that are going to be pertinent throughout the day. Because, again, I live in the UK. So I'm 5 hours into the future from America. So again, hoping to give you guys a heads up of things to expect. Ultimately, the last big headline to keep in mind is that President Trump is still under fire for accepting a $400 million private jet from Qatar, or Qatar, however people are saying it these days, insisting that it's for America. Not him personally, it's for America. And the thing about it is, I don't see why people are like surprised. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that this is the thing. Like this is the thing that Republicans and conservatives and MAGA and Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro and all the folks who have had his back this whole time are now saying that they are in disagreement with, and that's what they're seeing as corruption. And now they can see that he's a grifter. And it's like, really, this is what you needed? Like, of course he's going to accept this plane. Of course he is. And the thing is, like, he does need congressional approval in a normal world, but we're in the Fourth Reich, my friends. So of course he's going to take this plane. Of course he is. It's absolutely whatever Trump wants, Trump's going to get. And the thing is, it's not even for him. Like, he's such an idiot. Like, he can't read, y'all. He cannot read. He reads at like a fourth grade level. He is functionally illiterate. Okay. So this man is a goddamn idiot. Point blank, period. The people behind him, though, the Heritage Foundation, Steve Miller, Steve Bannon, like all these folks who actually have plans, actually have projects that they want to enact based on this man being in office, Elon Musk. They're the ones who also benefit, especially for the whole white Christian nationalist movement. Like, Jesus Christ, it's they're using him and he's fine with it because he's making money, so can't be mad. Let's see. I'm gonna be honest. Once you fully wake up, you realize Israel and the J people really control everything. I mean, I'm no Zionist by any means, but I would just extrapolate that out then to just, white people. I don't think it has anything to really do with the religion you practice. Sunshine, thanks so much for the engagement. I appreciate all the comments. That's really helping. Everybody, if you could keep tapping. If you want to be a guest, I do see that someone is coming up. You love Mexicans?
Host,
You love. What are your thoughts on the headlines of the day?
can we agree that in our country, white people experienced racism?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, also systematic racism doesn't exist. Do you agree?
I don't know about systematic racism, but
What's
systemic
systemic?
racism, if that's what you're trying to say,
Wait,
is
can you
absolutely a thing.
Wait, hold on. So actually not true. Can you define systemic and systematic since they're two different things apparently?
Like, what are you trying to convince me of, sir?
Wait, hold on. So you can't define it.
What are you trying to convince me of?
Yeah, systemic or systematic racism does not exist.
Okay, if it doesn't exist, then what difference does that make to you? Are you white? Are you black?
No, I'm white.
So what does it matter for you?
I don't know, I'm bored.
All right, so
Hold on, hold on. Do you think that can white people be wait, hold on. Can I say nigga?
no,
Why not?
because you're gonna get me banned. So
Wait,
that's
what's wrong with white people saying nigga?
all right. Here's the thing. I don't care. You can say what you want. The thing about it is, I don't want to get banned. Like, if this was YouTube or Rumble, where I stream sometimes. I mean, I'm on Rumble. I'm on Kick. I'm on True Social. I'm on Gab. I'm on all the alt right places. Um, but TikTok does not allow that. So yeah, yeah, I got to kick you for that. Thing is, if you say the N word, like, why? Like, why do you want to say it so bad? Why do you want to, like, what's the point of you wanting to say? Yeah, he was so proud of himself. Like, good for you, sir. All right, yay, you did it. The thing is, like, go do that at work. If you have any black friends, I doubt that you do, but if you do, go tell that to them. Start calling them that. If you're so proud to say it anonymously on a live stream, then be proud to say it in front of your mother. Be proud to say it to you know your black doctor or whomever you feel, your black boss, whoever it is that you're so angry at that you feel the need to say it in the first place. The most powerful video I ever saw about the N word was by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and it was in a conversation he had where he was basically saying how, like, there are words that I mean, of course you can say anything. You can say anything. I can say Mayo sapiens. I can say palm color people. I can say whatever I want to say. But at the end of the day, why do you want to say it? Like, just because it's this one thing that that's off limits to you, that's why you really want it. He was basically saying how he'll listen to his wife talking to her girlfriends, and she'll be like, bitch, you crazy, and he's like, I'm not going to call that lady a bitch. He's like, I'm not going to call my dad Richard. So I'm like, there's just some things that you just don't say, and the N word is just one of those things. And so it's just kind of funny that, yeah, white people and not all white people want to say it, and not all white people who say it are saying it with that same kind of intent as our friend here. But it's like they don't want to question themselves about why they want to say it. Why do you want to say it so bad? Because you've been told you can't, and that's really kind of it. We're gonna we're gonna skip a request from In Her Poop Hole. Sorry, friend. It's because he has that word as his user profile picture, and again, I don't want to be banned, so sorry about that. In Her Poop Hole, if you would like to leave a comment, I'll certainly read it out if it won't get me banned. Thing is, I don't care about that language so much because I feel like as soon as you say it, okay, I know who you are. I know what you're about. Thank you for letting us know that you're a piece of shit. And we don't have to deal with you. Ultimately, when it comes to like racism, like the guy who started the conversation by saying, can white people experience racism? Sure. Okay. Yeah. What if you can, as a white person, experience racism? What does that matter? Like, how does that change anything for you? Do you think that you experiencing racism or wanting to experience racism now exonerates you from having to take responsibility for your own racism? Or what's the point? Like, I just don't understand why people want to try to convince me, a black woman, that they have just as much systemic racism or oppression or whatever as I do or as that black people do. Like, what's the point of that? I really don't understand. And her poop hole says Google black single mom percentage for a galaxy. For a galaxy? I don't understand. Waiting for you to respond to my comment, like you said. I don't understand your question or your comment. Are you? I'm gonna assume you're trying to insinuate that black single mothers, there's a higher percentage of black single moms than white single moms. You know what's funny is that is systemic racism. That's institutionalized racism. A lot of black couples don't get married, and one of the reasons is because when lower income families, especially, were first put on some governmental or assistance programs like welfare, you could not be cohabitating with someone. You could not be married. If you were on a dual income, you would lose benefits or you get less benefits. If you had a man cohabitating with you, you would lose your benefits. Like there were actual like uh, regulations in some of these assistance programs that made it impossible for specifically like lower income. There's a bug in my house, but lower income families, which are predominantly black families, to get married. And so, yeah, if you have a lot more black single moms, that's due to systemic racism. So now they're cheating the system. Okay, sure. Again, like, what are you trying to convince me of? I don't understand like what your argument is here. That there's more single black moms. Okay, all right, sure. If that's what you want to believe. I'll guess that this would have been a negative live no matter which Republican had won. I thought it was because people don't abandon good things. That's due to choices. Yo, in her sunshine. Is Timmy still here? I just want to thank you guys. Like y'all are really adding to my engagement counts. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about some of these headlines and just go into a little bit more detail. When we talked about the Palm Springs bombing, and one of the things that again struck me with that is that again he attacked a fertility clinic, not an abortion clinic, a fertility clinic. Again, this crazy person said that he didn't think any child should be born without their consent, which is nuts. But I actually see the through line between the whole forced birth movement and this attack on a fertility clinic. It kind of has to do with the whole idea of personhood anyway. So think about it. When Roe versus Wade first was taken away, a lot of IVF clinics had to shut down operations in some states that went ahead with their triggered abortion bans because they gave personhood status to embryos. And so you can't like proceed with IVF procedures on the off chance that every embryo that, naturally passes away is considered, you murdering a person. So I think it's kind of nuts that, the next step in the attacks on abortion absolutely do include IVF and reproductive health clinics and things like that. Furthermore, I can see that contraception is going to be under attack. I mean, we're already seeing like mifepristone being demonized. We're already seeing all these different attempts to um, uh, like prevent contraception from being sent through, through interstate mail and things like that. So there's a lot of attacks that start with some abortion or AV or whatever, move into the whole idea of IVF and which you would think would be what they want, that they would want more kids and stuff like that. But it doesn't really quite work that way. Oh, Johnny. says AB is murder, plain and simple. Not at all. Explain that to me. Like, please define murder and abortion and how did they overlap at all? Let's talk about the UK problems. We can handle our own issues in the US. No, you can't. Why no all black first world countries? Do you not understand how colonization worked? Do you not understand how evil Europeans are and have been? And it's sad that I would say that with my sweet British husband. But yeah, yeah, that's due to the fact that Europeans, the Portuguese, the Spanish, Europeans, have raped African nations from, ever since they knew how to ride on a boat. Let's see. Do you understand per capita crime statistics now? Sweetheart, like, y'all commit more crime per capita than we do. Indeed, we can. I just told my brother is in the UK, and you definitely have bigger issues in the UK. Like what? Being in the UK is amazing. It's amazing. First of all, like, I don't get the same level of racism that I'm experiencing from you guys. I don't get that here at all. Not at all. I walk up the street, people wave at me. I don't have to move people past their presuppositions of who I am. Um, I'm taken at face value. I'm assumed to be a kind and smart and intelligent person until proven otherwise, and I think that's nice that everybody treats everybody that way. The only thing I don't like about the UK is how we're starting to be more susceptible to the billionaire class in the same ways that have corrupted America. So, in the same way that Elon Musk put all this money into getting Trump in office, it's funny how he's failing now and couldn't get his judge into Wisconsin and stuff like that. But I digress. You see the same kind of thing happening with like J.K. Rowling infusing so much money into the government here in order to pass like anti-trans laws and bills. I think that's pretty horrible. That's pretty atrocious. Black single mom in her poop hole says, no, I am not a single mom, if that's what you're asking. It's plenty of crime in the UK. Look at gun crime. Look at pew pew crime. Google per capita crime. Here's the thing. Like, what do you want me to like? What are you trying to get me to believe or do differently or change with this information? Like, what if like it's not true? But what if black people were so much more violent than the European based folks who have done such unspeakable evils throughout history? What if that were the case? Like, do you feel like that's what justifies, cops unaliving us more? Do you feel like that's what justifies us getting poor education? Do you feel like that's what justifies us being redlined into specific lower income areas? Do you feel like that's what justifies us being unalived by medical professionals more? Do you feel like that's what justifies us having higher maternal and fetal mortality rates? Like, do you feel like that's what justifies you seeing me as less than a person just because of the color of my skin? Like, I don't think any statistic that you could ever show would get me to think of you as less than a human being. And if that's what you're trying to get me to move toward, you can just stop right now. Like, there's nothing you could do to make me feel like any human being of any color is not a human being or is worth less because of how they appear. I think that's absolutely insane. Um, all right, sure, poop hole. Yo, I would love to pull you up. I just wish you had a different username, or user profile picture. All right, friends. So that was the headlines of the day. Just to recap, again, I'm Sophie of standwithsophie.com. these folks who are commenting for the most part don't seem to feel like they need it. But if you are in search of help navigating the Fourth Reich in America, you want some survival guides, I have live trainings on how to harden your vulnerabilities. That's what she said, right? How to hack your phone to make sure that you're as secure as possible. I have secure comms. I have so much stuff to try to help us get through the Fourth Reich together. And so that's why every morning I'm going to come on and tell you the headlines, because I don't live in America. So I'm undisappearable for the most part. So I can share what's happening for it 5 hours into your future because I live in the UK, and I won't be disappeared for doing it. So just to recap, today marks day 90 that Adriana Smith, who is brain dead, a Black woman, whose family wishes they would just let her go. She's being forced to be an incubator for her fetus, who is now 21 weeks old. So, again, just a couple weeks away from being viably born, which is so disgusting, sad, and scary. Also, this morning in Palm Springs, California, American Reproductive Center, which is a fertility IVF clinic, was exploded over the weekend in an act of domestic terrorism by a 25-year-old man from 29 Palms. Apparently, it's reported that he believed no child should be born without their consent. He died in the explosion, thank goodness, idiot. At his home, FBI agents found more pew-pews and more explosives. Yeah. And so that's just a natural progression of some of these forced birth laws that are unfortunately affecting Adriana Smith and her family as well. Another headline to look forward to today is that President President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive metastatic prostate cancer, which he's undergoing treatment for now. I again wish him the best. Moody's has downgraded the U.S. credit rating, which is causing markets to continue their slip due to the inflation and tariffs and corporate deregulation that we've already seen. Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill is advancing in Congress. It includes sweeping tax cuts for the rich and a tax on remittances sent outside the U.S., which is really, really disproportionately going to target immigrant communities. And finally, Trump is still under fire for accepting the $400 million private jet from Qatar, insisting that it's for America, not him personally. So, wow. Yeah, Moody's has downgraded the U.S. credit rating. So now markets are going to slip. It's adding pressure to the economy. It's pretty shitty. It's pretty shitty. Now wireless. Thanks for coming on so early, love. I would love your thoughts and input on that, because now, if for those of you who don't know, please follow the wireless woman. She is an incredible human being on so many levels. She said she just needed to know how her workday was going to go, and exactly, she works in finance. And so whenever you want to offer your take, I'm very, very much interested in hearing what your thoughts are on that. Because I'll be honest, I don't know very much about a lot of the details when it comes to bond markets and all these other things that very rich people have to be concerned with, not me. So yeah, let me know. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate that. So that's it for me, though. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down because yeah, we've had some really interesting commenters. I hope you guys follow and come on back in tomorrow. I appreciate the engagement. So many great comments. Keep tapping, sharing, and I'll put a little highlight of the top headlines to look forward to up as a post. So see you guys tomorrow. You have a great day, Jamal. UK Kamala. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Wow. Thanks so much, wireless. All right. See you guys later.